see. Trying to get by, gonna survive. Every girl has a dream. Welcome to my world, I'm a Yankee girl. Shortly, I will be speaking with the rock legend himself, Lou Gramm. Now, you probably all know who that is, but just in case you've been living under a rock or you're just a youngin', Lou was the lead singer of the iconic rock band Foreigner. Now, I met Lou about 12 years ago through his brother, Dick. I was in a couple rock bands with his brother, and we wrote an album together called Now or Never. And here it is. Lou actually produced this album for me before I came to Nashville. So that's one of my claims to fame and a fond memory of Lou that I like to share, along with when Lou did one of his first concerts as the Lou Gramm Band in Nashville. He asked me to sing backups in the song called I Want to Know What Love Is.
I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me. I wanna feel what love is.
So I love to tell people those two stories about him. However, I don't know if they really believe me or not. And all I have is this lousy picture to prove it, which isn't very good proof. So maybe Lou will vouch for me. So stick around. We're going to talk to Lou about his life, his career, his brand new book, and what's next for Lou Gramm.
One guitar just blew him away. Saw stars in his eyes, and the very next day bought a beat-up six-string in a second-hand store. Didn't know how to play it, but he knew for sure that one guitar felt good in his hand. Didn't take long to understand. Just one guitar slung way down low was a one-way ticket, only one way to go. So he started rocking, ain't never gonna stop. Gotta keep on rocking. Someday gonna make it to the top and be a jukebox hero. Got stars in his eyes. He's a jukebox hero. He took one guitar.
It's Lou Gramm, everybody.
Hey, how are you?
I want to start off by saying thank you so much for doing this, being on Yankee Girl TV. I know you're a busy, busy man.
I can find time for you, Michelle, honestly.
Well, that's nice. Thank you. I've got so much stuff to ask you and talk to you about. I actually had to write down little cheat sheets.
Cheat notes.
Yeah. You look fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. So how's everything going? I heard you're doing very well
Everything's
health-wise.
doing well. Yep, everything's good. God has been good to me, and I'm still touring. I'm doing things on my own terms, and loving life.
Well, how did you get in such fantastic shape? I see that you've lost a lot of weight and you look amazing.
Well,
What are you
from
doing?
my operation and all the steroids, I gained over 150 pounds. You know,
Wow.
I couldn't do much about it. It just happens when you're
Steroids.
in massive steroids, you know. And it's a real struggle taking it off. I have been working 5 days a week with a trainer.
5 days a week.
5 days
Wow.
a week.
That's a lot of working
when,
out.
when I'm home, yeah. And just watching the carbs and making sure that I eat right and get a lot of sleep and just in general take care of myself.
And you're feeling good, huh?
I'm feeling very good.
Good for you. Good. That's
Thank you.
that's amazing. You look awesome. You just recently were married.
Yes, I am. My wife Robin and I are spending a lot of time together. Occasionally she comes out on the road with me, and we do some traveling and having a lot of fun with the kids. And
See, I told you he was a busy man. You're still touring.
Still touring,
And I heard recently from a little bird that you had gotten one of the biggest honors a person can get. You were
Unbelievable.
recently inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Amongst company like Steven Tyler, Elton John, Billy Joel. Is this one of the highest honors you've ever received?
It really is. It's a pretty select few that are inducted into this society, and Mick Jones and I were inducted together, and that's the first time I had seen him or really even talked to him in over 10 years.
Wow.
So that was that was really fun. And we mended some fences, and we rocked the house.
So was it awkward at first when you saw Mick, or was it kind of like old times?
It was a little awkward because the first thing we did was we met at a rehearsal studio to rehearse the band that was going to be backing us up. And we kind of shook hands and gave each other a hug, and asked how families were and all that stuff, and then we got down to playing. But as we took a break, and then we started talking, then we went out for a bite to eat after, and we talked a little more, and pretty soon the defenses came down. We were just it was like old times. It was better than old times. It was really great.
I bet that's great to hear. All the fans out there that want the band to rekindle. But we'll talk about that a little later. So that's.
You want paradise, but someday you'll pay the price. And I know, I've seen it before. It happens all the time. You close the door, you leave the world behind. You go, heaven and earth collide tonight. We'll be all alone in a different night. I don't care what the world can't see. It's just between you and me. You and me.
Now, I must be living in a hole in Nashville or something, because I did not know that Lou recently wrote a book called Jukebox Hero, My 5 Decades in Rock and Roll. And when did the book come out, Lou?
It came out May 1st.
How did you come up with the idea? What made you decide to, hey, I want to write a book?
You know what? I've been thinking about it for years. I had lunch with Scott Petoniak, who was a
Sports writer.
sports writer.
Yeah, okay.
For the DNC for quite a while, and he's done his own books on sports characters. Johnny Antonelli, the coach at Syracuse University basketball team. He's done a slew of sports books, and he called me and asked me to meet him for lunch, and so I agreed, and he asked me if I had ever thought about writing a book.
Oh,
And I told him that I had thought about it briefly, but never really put it into motion. He says because he says you have and have had a life that is made for a book. The ups and downs of what you've been through, your humble beginnings and such, and that really intrigued me. So. Once a week, right here where we are, we would get together at about noon, and he would just ask me questions, not in a timeline or anything. Some of them would be from last week, some of them would be from when I was 4 years old. I would give him very honest, off the cuff answers, and we did that for over a year.
wow.
We met once a week right here. And it got to the point where he finally said, he says, I think I've got it.
I've got enough. Yep. Oh, wow. Are you happy with the final product?
I'm very happy with
Oh, good.
it. He did a
Well,
great job. He and I are very good friends.
I want to make sure y'all run out and get Lou's book. Now, Lou Gramm, Jukebox Hero, My 5 Decades in Rock and Roll. Heck, that's 50 years. If I did the math right?
Yes, it
That's
is.
a long time. I'm not a speed reader, but I did try and start to get through it. And there was one thing, I laughed out loud when you told the story of your high school sweetheart, how would she jump on the back of the car, the rock and roll band, the Rolling Stones?
Yeah, it
She
was.
fell off.
Yep.
I actually laughed out loud at that.
Yeah, she was a huge Brian Jones fan.
Well, he said she was trying to chase him, and she jumped on the back of the car, and they took off, and she fell right on her keister.
She fell, but they stopped the car, and Brian came out and helped her up and gave her a kiss.
So it did end up working after all. So remember, if you see Lou Gramm's car, just jump on it and fall off, and maybe he'll get out and save you. All right. And then I actually marked this because, people think that, I know there's a lot of great things that come with being a rock and roll legend and being a rock star and living the rock star life, but there's also a part they don't know. And on page 3, I know it's only page 3, but it says, I must have heard those words 1,000 times. I think you were talking about your dad and your family, and how, you know, be careful. It's a good thing to do part-time, but maybe not full-time. And he said, and they would haunt me later when often lonely, empty life of a rock star got the better of me. So tell me, first of all, what the best part of being a rock star is, and then I want to talk about the lonely times.
I mean, for me, the best part is the music, writing and recording the music, and hearing it on the radio, and knowing that you've done a good job. That the songs are interesting, and the recording is good. That part's great, and also performing is wonderful too, in front of a big audience. That the adulation, when they know the songs and they're singing along with you as you're singing them. That's great, but I think for me the part that's tough is after the show. You may socialize a little bit, and then you end up in your room, and obviously it's just you, and I would start thinking about my mom and dad, what they were doing, and know that they were getting older, and then I start thinking about my kids that I'd been away for 6 or 8 weeks without seeing them, wondering how they're doing, how my wife is doing. It's things that when I thought about being in a rock band, I didn't think I'd be out and away so long. I thought about the fun things and the shows and the TV appearances and all that stuff, but I didn't think about the part where you're touring for months and months before you even come home for a day or two.
The price you have to pay for fame. Yeah.
It's a big price, and I think it was really the guilt. It was that guilt and the longing for my family that kind of spurred my alcohol and drug problems.
You seem like you're a real family guy, and that's very important. Yeah. I just a little part that I got through the book, I noticed a lot of talk about the family. What do you want people to get out of this book? If they could take away one thing from your book, or know one thing about Lou Gramm, what would it be? Something you would want to be remembered for, maybe, or...
That's a tough question, Michelle.
I know. What's the biggest lesson that life has taught you?
That life is much more enjoyable and real if you believe in God. Number one, and
have you always been a faithful
religion?
Okay. Catholic?
Actually, born again Christian.
Okay.
Yep.
Born again Christian.
And without alcohol and drug abuse, my life is so different. I've been clean and sober almost 21 years.
Wow! Congratulations. That is really something.
And that was a tough lesson to learn, because when I got in foreigner, it wasn't like I was squeaky clean. I drank and I had obviously smoked marijuana. I think everybody did in my circle of friends. But when success hit for that band, we went in the deep end with that stuff, and it took its toll.
So you're living a much happier life, clean and sober.
Absolutely. The change is so profound, and the funny thing is when you're in trouble with that stuff, and still you go on for years before you finally face it and do something about it. It's wasted years, and I'm so glad that God gave me the strength to do something about it.
I was just going to ask you that. Where did you get the strength when you're at the peak of your career? The band can't get any bigger than they are, and where do you get the strength to pull yourself out? Because there's a lot of people that
How
can't.
about this? I flew to Hazleton in Minnesota, which is a great rehab.
Okay.
The day after we rocked the house and sold out Madison Square Garden. That night was a nightmare for me, and the next day I just called a friend and said, help me get there.
Oh. And you stuck it out, and that's how you got better.
Yeah, I was,
But you had your faith, too.
absolutely.
Well, you heard it out of a rock legend's mouth, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen. Life is actually better as a rock star sober.
It was the best tour date I ever had.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is an awesome story. Thank you for sharing that. Well, the first time you ever got on stage as the lead singer of Foreigner, in your first concert, what went through your head? Like, this is it? I mean,
Yeah,
It wasn't.
because when we went on stage for the first time as Foreigner, our album had been out. Feels Like the First Time was racing up the charts.
Well, it feels like the first time. It feels like the very first time.
And we had not performed together. We had rehearsed together, but we had never performed
Right.
as a band together.
oh wow.
And our first show was at American University outside of Washington, D.C. And it was a big amphitheater, and it was all college kids. And I remember really being so nervous before the show, and we're slapping each other on the back. All right, let's go get on and stuff, And we went out, and first thing I remember is the tempos being so fast.
Because everybody was nervous.
Yep,
Probably the drummer.
And
as well.
Dennis, our drummer, was nerved up too, and they were fast. And as the song would go on, they'd even get a little faster, to the point where I'm, you could only jam so many lyrics
Right.
in a measure, and. So obviously the show was terrific for our first show, but we had a long way to go to being a real good band.
Yeah, fine tune.
Yes.
Oh, but I'm sure the fans loved it. Now, is Midnight Blues still your favorite song?
Favorite song that I've been involved in is the song that I wrote with Bruce Turgan, and again, that was a song that I came up with the basics of the song, and he and I finessed the arrangement and such. That song was a lot of fun to put together, actually.
Okay, and the line in Midnight Blue that talks about your dad.
I remember what my father said: it's either Cherry Red or Midnight Blue.
Now, what did he mean by that? Explain that. Cherry Red being like super sweet, super good, and Midnight Blue.
Being a little mysterious.
Oh, okay.
Midnight blue. Now listen, you were the reckless one.
And it still remains your favorite song,
It
right?
does, yeah. That and Jukebox Hero. I think it's a song that kind of is autobiographical to a degree, about a young guy who wants to make it as a rock star, and didn't even have the money to get a ticket to see his favorite band, had to listen to them from outside the venue, who finally makes good after dreaming about being a rock star, and hearing so many of his favorite groups and being enamored with them, and finally making it himself. I wrote Jukebox Hero with Mick,
With Mick,
Yes.
okay. Now, who came up with the idea? Because actually, Jukebox Hero is my favorite song.
That was my idea.
Okay.
I've got cassette tapes of me singing the melody and I was playing the drums
Right.
to it. No guitars, no keyboards, just my voice and the drums.
But when you were a kid, was that from an experience you had? You know, trying to go to the concerts?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
a number of them where I would. I'd either catch a ride with somebody or I'd be hitchhiking down Spencerport Road. That's how I got to the Stones concert.
Right.
Because I ran out of my house and my mom and dad had no idea where I was going.
And by the way, I don't want to spoil that in the book, but he did get grounded for a month. But he said it was worth it.
It was
right?
definitely worth it.
It was definitely worth it. I got to ask you this: do you like country music? I know you're a rock and roll guy, but
I do like country
you
music.
do.
Yep.
If you were asked to do, you know, like a show like maybe Crossroads or something like that, where you collaborate with a country music artist, do you know who you would be interested maybe in doing that with? Would you be interested?
I think I would.
Yeah? Oh, okay, good.
Does anybody stick out there? There's so many great ones that it would be.
Kind of hard to choose.
It'd be hard to choose, and you know they also want to. It's also up to them if they want to collaborate with you.
Oh my God, what are you kidding me? I think that would be a no-brainer, but have you ever seen the show Dancing with the Stars?
Absolutely.
You
yes.
have?
Yeah.
What's next? If you were asked to do that, would you do Dancing with the Stars?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. You know, a lot of people watch it. It's like one of the #1 shows on it.
I'd like to be one of the vocal mentors on.
The Voice.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
That would be-
that would
that'd
be
be
quite
fun.
fitting for you. Well, maybe if somebody hears us out there, Lou Gramm, The Voice, that'd be. Oh my God, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Lou. If you could relive one day in your life, what day would it be and why?
Wow, these questions are getting tough.
Are they? Okay. Well, I'm trying to live vicariously
I
through
hear
you, in case you didn't notice.
One of the most exciting and happiest was playing Cal Jam 2. I'll never forget that.
Really?
Yeah. It was about 700,000 people.
Oh my God! 700,000.
And
Wow.
it was an unbelievable event. There were people as far as you could see to the horizon and beyond. They had 3 or 4 PA systems set up on a 2 or 3 second delay, and big wide screens set up. Every time they set up the PA, they'd set up the wide screen so the people that were past the horizon line could see the performers on stage,
Right.
on the screens.
Oh my God, that's a huge production. Now, where was that held?
That was in California. I believe it was outside of Los Angeles. And we were just finishing up Double Vision, recording it, and we had our first album out, and it was successful already. So we came on, and we played our whole first album, and we came off stage thinking that we were done, and the crowd kept
encore.
wanting more, and we had no on.
Oh no!
So
Uh-oh.
we thought for a second, and we said, "Let's do Hot Blooded," which we had never even played before, nor had anybody ever heard it before. The album wasn't even out yet.
Wow. So it was just a song in the works at that point.
Yeah, and I only had one verse.
Check it and see. I got a fever of 103. Come on, baby, you can do more than dance. Hot dirty, hot dirty. Now listen.
So we went out there and played the song. I sang one verse 3 times, same verse.
Well, then maybe they were drinking. They didn't know.
Yeah, I'm sure they didn't. You know, we rocked the house. It brought the house down. You know, we said this is a new song that will be out in about 6 weeks. You know, it's our first single from our new album, and we, you know, here's a sneak peek for you. So we played it, and it was unbelievable. But the adrenaline pumping was just unbelievable because, you know, it was like going without training wheels on
Yeah.
your bike,
What do you like to do in your spare time? What does Lou Gramm do in his spare time?
I bet you know. Well, I'm definitely a family man. I love spending time with my wife and my children, all of them. I've got big guys who own restaurants and are chefs.
Right here in Rochester,
Yes.
they own restaurants.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys all know this, but I am Lou Gramm is from Rochester, New York, and so am I. And tell us what restaurants in Rochester your sons own.
My second oldest son Matthew and Nick both own a restaurant called Bonsai,
Okay.
and I have 14-year-old twins,
Yeah.
boy and a girl, who I also love dearly, and they're the ones who have the musical genes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay. That was my next question. Are they?
Do our encores, Hot Blooded, and they come up and sing every time when they're on the road with us.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, I told them a little story before we started it in the introduction. I was like, do you remember when you came to Nashville and the Lou Gramm Band did one of
Yes.
the first concerts there?
Absolutely.
And you asked me to sing back up with some of your other friends,
Yes.
and I Want to Know What Love Is.
Mhm.
Well, I tell people that story all the time, but I don't think they believe me.
She's telling the truth.
See? I told you.
Yes, she is.
I was bragging about the album that you produced for me that Dick and I wrote, and one we got to sing at the concert there. So
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was a fun time.
those are some of my fondest memories, my
Awesome.
claim to fame, I should say. The last question that I think all the diehard Foreigner fans and Lou Gramm fans out there would want to know would be this: is there any chance that Lou Gramm and Foreigner will reunite all the original members and do one last tour?
I think that'd be a great idea.
I do too, and I know your fans would think that for sure.
I think it's a long shot, but I wouldn't count that out.
Well, I want to thank you again, Lou, so much for being
My
on the show. You are a real special guy, and I'm so glad you're doing well and
Man, thank
family
you.
life and career and everything. is
Absolutely.
great. All right, well, thank you. Give a wave out to all your fans. Bye,
See you guys.
They called me Yankee girl right to my face.